Why, hello there. Interested in Agincourt foot knights, 1415 to 1429, are we? You came to the right place. These are Perry miniatures foot knights, and I am reliably informed that these will actually do for the whole of the 100 Years' War period, although they're technically for the very end, well, the latter end of the 100 Years' War, before the big changeover kind of went, which is the changing of armour. Up to this point, knights are in this sort of gear, which is pretty much the same. Hang on, actually, I've given a knight in full armour. This sort of knight's armour, which is all very nice armour. They've got a nice little breastplate and everything's armoured. They have a bit of mail underneath it. It's pretty armoured. But by about 1450, they were in this sort of gear, which is very large shoulder protection for things like axes and stuff coming down on you. These guys don't have the shoulder protection, they just have normal armour on the shoulder. These guys went in for pauldrons, so if you're into 40k you know what they are. The big Space Marine pauldrons on the side. Also they have this little bit here, this metal plate, and that is to protect weapons from getting in between here and injuring you from underneath. It's quite nasty. In fact, the only way you really killed a knight in this period is by getting 6 men to sit on him, pulling his helmet off and hitting him in the head with an axe. Yeah. Which is how King Richard died. About a dozen men sat on him and pulled his helmet off. By this period though, he fell off. This period, if you are in combat and you're a knight fighting a knight, then you are going to want something sharp and pointy. Let's just say this guy, he's got the sword, and he's not going to use a sword against a knight because it's useless. But the hilts of swords were actually maces, so you could puncture knights.
When you think about it, though, knights are pretty useless when they're on around.
Why?
Well, because if there's just 2 of your mates, you can just throw them onto the floor. As soon as they're on the floor, the arm is way too much to get up anyway.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't. No, honestly, it doesn't.
You
can follow. I've seen people in armour fall over.
By the time you're getting up, someone will open your visor and stab you in the face.
Yes, that's the problem with this period. Yeah, the way you kill them, you push them over, which is just what you said.
Stab.
You have a dozen bowmen push the guy over and sit on him, and then you open his face visor, which doesn't lock, and you stab him in the face with an arrow or whatever you've got, and you just hurt him. But also this armour, you can penetrate it with sharp pointy bits, so you can.
So really, it's not actually that. It just looks scary.
No, you've got to actually get it in the right position. I mean, we've watched get the games where the knights fight each other, right?
Yeah, the swords bounce
this
off.
this is the period that they use it.
I just love how in films one uses a sword, go straight through and go, yeah, you're dead now.
Yeah.
But when we watch them
in real life,
bounce, and they are the mace.
They hit each other with pole axes. They hit each other with. Admittedly, they are slightly blunted.
Yeah. What about lancing though?
And lancing too, yeah. So a knight is, if you hit a knight with a lance, he's just going to fall off his horse. That's all that's going to happen to him. He's going to get up. In this armour, you can be trampled by a horse. It happens, right? You go to a jousting thing, and you will see occasionally a knight will get dragged down the field because he gets his foot caught in the horse. And I've seen a horse
and walks away.
And I've seen a knight run over as well. A horse, he was just getting up, and a horse ran over him, trampled him. Everyone went, "Oh no!" He's got up. Blunt impact. He's not going to care. He's not going to feel it. No, he probably won't feel it. But if you got something pointy, something like this, which is a French innovation, you get a normal lance and you cut it down so an infantryman can use it. Because if you try and attack the English on horseback, you're stupid and are going to die. Or you get something like this, which is an English invention. This is a hammer. And just here you have the pointy bit for stabbing. You stab the enemy in the face or the leg plates here, or the elbows, and you also have the hammer bit to knock them around a bit, and then the best bit is the spiky bit on that side. You just bring it down with a huge amount of force on a helmet, and it will go through the helmet and kill the person you're fighting. So yeah, obviously by this period, the armour had got slightly better.
You can tell.
Yeah, it was, some of it was double layered. You had a gap. So we've got a helmet which has a 2-inch gap. So if a spike goes through the top of the helmet, you've got a 2 inches of padding which you can take before it actually gets anywhere near your skull. Plus you're wearing mail as well. So you know, times change, and at this period, this is what was the normal way of fighting. So we'll pop these out. I love the picture, by the way, great, and I love the picture of the dudes on the back. That is also awesome. And we'll look inside. Now, there's not a huge amount to look at with these.
36 figures.
It is. But you get basically 2 types. You get this type, which is the... got several types. So I've just got to go through the types now. Let's see. This is the all-white type, named because it was shiny. It's very, very polished, shiny armour, and the sun would glint off it, and they would look like shiny, glittery people that sort of look really nice, and so all-white armour. And this is really English. This is the English knight's armour. We didn't go in for wearing tabards and stuff, regardless of what you see in films. We went in with all white armour, solid plate armour, basically all shiny, polished, shiny. Officers would sometimes wear the English St. George's cross, like a tabard with, I've got one here. The tabard would have...
That's the most famous one.
The English cross on it, and that's about it. That's the only sort of way of doing it. Also, you have the English also had this funny round thing on their head.
That's so cool.
And that is just to denote an officer. It's just a round thing. You place it on your head and you run around, and it's only used by the English, not
you know
the
what
French.
I'd do to confuse the French?
What?
I dress everyone up like the king.
That'd be.
Yeah, and everyone would just be the king. Like, which one's the king? Oh,
Well,
God.
it's the only way you can tell. The only way you can tell where the king was is he stood under his own flag to let everybody know where he was. That's the only way you could actually find the guy.
Probably so people didn't lose morale, so no rumours came around during the battle that he's dead.
So if the king did go down, you just say, "No, that weren't the king. No,
Because what
that
happened
Dave."
to Harold?
Oh yes,
He
yes.
just died. No one knows how. No one knows when.
So these are more of them, and then we have the French type. This is for the French. You could use these for French because some of them do have a bit of a tabard on them, so you could paint them up. And you've got this. This is the French here, and they just look like French. They just they all wear tabards. They didn't really go in for the all white armour. They went in just for a tabard, and I will show you a picture. These guys here, they're all English, French. English, shiny, French, tabard with the picture of their household on. So when they died, people could write about it and say, "I saw him die." For the English, if he accidentally hit one of his own men, he'd say, "Oh, it weren't me. It was the other guy in shiny armour." Now, you will notice we have coats of arms of the English in this as well. If you're English knights, you notice French knights all have the white cross, English knights all have the red cross. That's the way we identified each other. But here are all the different uniforms and stuff that were used. Now, I will mention they are English tabards in this. And in all the Agincourt stuff, it shows you English tabards. But the English did not wear them when they were not in England. So if they were in France campaigning, they did not wear their household colours. They wore either nothing or the white cross, the white with red cross. They didn't wear, so different generals did not have their own colours on the battlefield. You were all English and you were all equal. Basically, that's how that worked. And also morale is probably another thing to do with it. So you can use these as men-at-arms, just standard men-at-arms, or you can use them as lords, dukes, whatever. Doesn't really matter so much for the English, so to speak, but certainly for the French, you had lots of famous houses who all died at Agincourt, which was great, and so there they all are. So what do you think?
Look really good, don't they?
Yeah.
Very highly detailed.
I'll show you some that are painted up. I'll put them here. and we'll get the camera to zoom in on them. If we can get the camera to zoom in on them, I'll just put some more on so you can see them all. These are a bunch done in the all white, which is the just get that. They're all done in the English colours, and they have the white with red cross on their shoulder defence, the shoulder pauldron, the defence for the shoulder. Later on, that was no longer needed because you had the huge shoulder pads which would protect your shoulders, because technology advances as time goes forwards. These are the French, and they're different French houses, which are not entirely relevant to a game. It's just to make them look good. We did think of doing individual houses and stuff, didn't we? Mm-hmm. But then household infantry would wear the same uniform sometimes as their lord wouldn't be using the same unit in the battlefield. So
you just overcomplicate it.
Yeah, you just make it complicated. There's no point. It's useless, really. So they just look good. That's why they're there. And that's them. And I think the French look great because they're in the really nice colours. As the English look a bit boring. They look a bit like Cybermen. They're just in silver, which is okay. They look good because it's a lot easier to tell them apart on the battlefield. There's a big reason about it. So, any comments?
No. Very good though.
So that's the figures, and that's what they look like painted up. Because we're doing Agincourt ourselves, aren't we?
Yes.
Although we're going to start with Harfleur because we want to build a fort, and we quite like the idea of sieging a fort. So we're going to have a go at doing that. So these are the guys. They're absolutely awesome. And it's already gone on for 12 minutes, so I don't want to bore you anymore with this. The figures, as I said, are great. I haven't gone into the weapons.
I think they've just seen all the weapons on the figures you've done.
Well, yeah, you've actually seen them all. Well, weapon-wise, you get a good collection of different gear. You do get shields. Only the French use shields. It wasn't an English thing. But you do get all the different spiky things and pointy things that we used. Some pretty awesome hands. Two-handed weapons, single-handed weapons. They're all good. And on the French sprue, you get the same, although you have more of these. And these are the polearm. Polearm? The polearm? Yeah, the guy on the front cover. This is a lance, which has been cut down. So they get the lance to turn up at Agincourt, and they realise their cavalry are absolutely useless against the English, and so they get their lances, which they're supposed to ride into battle on and wave, and they cut them down to use it as a short spear or long spear, not quite a pike, and then hopefully you can get close enough to an Englishman to actually stab him with your lance. It won't do anything to him. Your lance tip will probably blunt or break, because the type of lances used by the French weren't really much use. So hopefully you can knock the knight over with it. That's the point.
Just going in with a mace.
Yes, that's the English way of dealing with it.
Just dual wheel a mace.
Yeah.
Just keep spinning.
So what the French tried to do is trip or push over the English knight, and then they could get close to the English knight, and another Frenchman could hit him with an axe or something like that, and hopefully kill him, maybe get his visor up and kill him.
Would not do anything, I don't think.
So you're in desperate times here. The French were up against it, whereas every English knight carried a mace, some sort of mace, and the English would just run straight up to the Frenchman and hit him. And yeah, that's basically how it went down. The English just evolved quicker than the French militarily, and partly due to the amount of wars fought in England. Yeah. England had a lot of problems going on. The French kind of did, but yeah, it's a long, complicated history. I ain't going into it now because the video's coming on for 15 minutes, and I don't want to bore you senseless. So we'll discuss that in another video. So that's it.
Alright.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below what you think of the Agincourt Foot Knights.
It's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
Bye.